In this week's episode, Sandy and I are going to be discussing Thursday, September 2nd, her conflict day. This is Mars opposing Neptune, Mars being that masculine energy of forward marching, and Neptune being the wishy-washy one of confusion and fantasy. So this is about who can we trust, who is next to us, who do we need to investigate a little bit more. So to hear more of this week's transits, tune into this episode of Astrological Intentions. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the cookie queen herself, Sandy Reevy.
Bring them on, Cookie Monster.
It is episode 162, August 30th. Let's get right into it. Today, we have Mercury ingress Libra.
Fair trade.
Sandy's conflict day, Thursday, September 2nd, Mars opposed Neptune.
Who can you trust?
Saturday, September 4th, Mercury trine Saturn.
One final review.
And wrapping up the week with Sunday, September 5th, Venus square Pluto retrograde.
Not the point of no return.
Then the Talisman times that Sandy has finished up. There is a handful we're going to go through, along with the upcoming ones: to beautify my home, to become the artist that I am, to find satisfying and enriching nourishment, and to repay alone. Then on the horizon, we have just finished up our September astrology forecast. Watch that now and download the cheat sheet, as well as we have a special announcement about our Mexico retreat with Sandy. Then in our house, Sandy has been busy planning some new workshops and wants to share about her favorite one. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions. So you finally know you control where you go. Hello, Cookie Queen.
Pray tell more. I want to know how I got that.
You ate the rest of my oatmeal raisin cookie, so that's how you get that one.
Well, you asked me if I wanted some squished
Snicker bar. It was like a little fun size one that I found in my purse.
From Halloween a couple years ago.
No. It was from Vegas.
Sure?
We were trying to keep our blood sugar up while we were playing nonstop pool.
And then I said, no, thank you. And then you find another goodie.
I found a cookie. I found a cookie in my bag. And then you're like, I'll take that. So you are now the cookie queen. You also got my cookie crumbles. So
and I said it was just an amuse-bouche. I'll take the real cookie now.
Yes. So it is episode 162, August 30th, and I wanted to go direct to all you listeners. We received a feedback from Dana Frost, who is the host, the podcast host of Vitally You podcast. She's local here in Chicago, and she wanted to give you some feedback about her astrology reading.
Oh, come on. I love Dana.
So she says, wow, I really experienced a deeper appreciation for who I am that is unalterable in a positive way. I am who I am, and I can celebrate that. Mm. Woo woo! We're celebrating along with you.
Cookies for everybody.
Cookies for everyone. So, okay. Of course, that is our soul food. Thank you, Dana. I love to hear these, so keep them coming. One is never enough, kind of like cookies. So let's move into the transits. We have today, Monday, August 30th, Mercury ingress Libra.
Fair trade, right? We've got Mercury, the planet of commerce, making deals, agreements, arrangements, negotiations, going into the sign of Libra. And he's moving out of the Virgo that he loves being in, being all organized, got his pencil sharpened. And now he's going in where he can be fair and making arrangements, about, diplomatic type things, diplomacy, harmony, negotiating, having conversations and actually listening, asking a question and wanting the answer. How many people do you know that I know one particular person will ask a question and then shuts down and never listens to the answer? I'm not here to
I'm
tell.
sorry, what? No, I know. Go on.
So this is a time when you can, open your heart and open your ears and listen. And my ears are all open now.
Yeah.
So
and being fair is key for this time period.
And something about making nice, pretty, camaraderie plans, agreements, like, hey, let's meet over there for a glass of wine, or let's meet there for some music, or let's go shopping together because I need my nails painted, something like that. So
fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like fair trade, like let's maybe buy fair trade merchandise.
Perfect too. I like that even better.
Yeah.
So let's move on. We have your conflict day, which is happening Thursday, September 2nd. Mars opposing Neptune.
Yeah. Who can you trust? And, when we have Neptune in the mix, you don't know, because it could be a confused, cloudy, foggy, unclear, those rose-colored glasses that we all have. Some we constantly have on. Maybe they're contacts and we never take them off. But watch any devious actions, and maybe you need to, put on your sleuthing hat, and get into find solutions to something. And then, remove your imagination glasses, those rose-colored glasses that make you think what you're looking at is truly what you want. So,
all right,
it is a conflict day, but it's of other conflicts day I've had in different months of the year. This is, somewhat mellow, but because the Neptune
waters it down a little bit.
Waters the Mars down, and Mars is not in one of his signs, so he's not really strong here. But still be careful today, and maybe you're just better off working alone or being by yourself. You're doing solo
just you
work.
And Watson. You channel your Sherlock
your
Holmes.
pipe and your book. How about that it's a Thursday night.
Yeah.
You can set up your weekend for other people, but maybe this second is your maybe you're watching a whodunit movie, right? That would be
fun.
another,
yeah.
Or watching or reading
or playing Clue. That was one of my all-time favorite games. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to Saturday, September 4th, Mercury trine Saturn.
One final review. Now, the reason why I've got this, because it's at 7 degrees. Mercury is, we know that he's in Libra. This is the sign that Mercury will start his shadow period, which will be in a couple days, and starts his shadow period at 10 degrees of Libra, and Mercury will be retrograde in Libra from 10 degrees to 25 degrees, for the next, end of September and October. Mm-hmm. However, he's going into a shadow period in a couple days. And why this particular day is so important, this Saturday the 4th, is because this is the last aspect that Mercury makes in a trine to Saturn, strong Saturn, even though Saturn's retrograde, that says, your final review before, you're going to check things before you send a button. Send a button. Hit the send button.
Okay.
Push the send button. It's great for committing to a written project or something that you've had to do some research around. It's like you've got it figured out. You could continue on this task until all your issues have been solved. This Mercury is making its last pass, as I mentioned, transit to Saturn before it goes into the shadow. So check now, and forever hold your peace, push the button. Otherwise, you may really need to wait till this Mercury gets out of shadow, and which is November 3rd.
A while.
Which is a 2-month period from this moment.
Right.
So if you're listening to this, hopefully as soon as it comes out on Monday.
Right.
Which would be the 1st. No, which would be the 30th.
30th. August 30th.
Mm-hmm. That you have this whole week up until Friday, Saturday, the 4th, to
go through those drafts, look at things,
look at everything, check it before Mercury, because this is really, and
well,
I always look at that.
We
for
have our
people.
sleuth materials anyway, so I think that'll be helpful.
And that's good. That's true. We got our magnifying glass. We have our copy machine. We have our syllabus on, what the mystery codes are. But I always look at this for when I'm going to be talking to a client work. I always want to look to find out if a planet is making his shadow and retrograde period, what is the last aspect that it makes that it does not retrograde over. That's really important.
Is that similar to this?
Yeah, it's this.
Okay.
It's this.
All right. Because it makes sense. It's the final review where it's going.
It's not coming back to this Saturn.
Right.
It's not coming back to make this trine to Saturn. And trine to the Saturn says, hey, everything looks good. I'm ready to, everything looks exactly where I need it to be. If there's any little issues or typos or anything, correct those and then push button.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the end of the week, Sunday, September 5th, Venus square Pluto retrograde.
This is at 24 degrees. Pluto's been sitting here at 24 degrees of Capricorn. This happens at around 10 o'clock at night. It is not the point of no return. You can make changes here. It is a square. So there is a tension possibly with Venus. So this could be with things you love, desire, your aesthetics, your relationship, needs to go through a little bit of change. Mm-hmm. So is there a conversation that you failed to say and all of a sudden it's now sprung up from
Bubbling
underneath the rug
mm-hmm.
that you put it out? Something was found, some I don't know about secret, but maybe secret.
It's like a total spin of the week, like you're being the sleuth and then all of a sudden it turns out like the sleuth is the murderer. Whoa, plot twist.
Yeah, it kind of says you can make the changes here. Because just like Persephone made arrangements to leave her abductor Hades, right, Pluto, to visit her mother Demeter about 2/3 of the year. So there are negotiations and planning that you may have to make that need to be permanent. How do you make a deal with Hades, Pluto, to for his wife, the queen of the underworld, that he stole from the upper world because she was so beautiful, to make her his wife, and she became queen down there, but her mother missed her, which is why Demeter is the goddess of agriculture. So when she was searching the lands looking for her missing daughter, Persephone, she made everything barren. Nothing grew. There was cold, there was ice, there was snow, which is depicted in, our changes of the season. Mm-hmm. So you can make changes here is my point. Which at the top of the podcast, I wanted to say something about Rapunzel.
Right. Oh, okay.
Well,
rewind.
And we can talk about it when we talk about the cheat sheet. But I do want to bring in the fact that when I was writing for the month of September, for our thing that we did on Saturday, the forecast. The forecast, mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever that thing is called. And we have too many things, and I'm a Mercury in Pisces, and it's hard for me to identify a word at the top of my my tongue. But it was very, very clear to me that this whole month that I could tie in a fairy tale or a myth, and it leaned toward Rapunzel fairy tale. So if you haven't gotten the cheat sheet yet,
there's a special fairy tale surprise
added, which took me hours actually, and it was very much fun for me. But I added this. What do you call it? A collaboration, or
it was kind of like the story plot, that how it follows with the transits of the month, mm-hmm. which was really interesting.
Right. And I don't know that I'm going to do this for every month. I'll wait till I get to October. And then when I get into the crux of the matter and see if I can tie in a myth or a fantasy fairy tale story, because I'm a Pisces. I like to know that other side of possibilities and tying it into the real world.
And I also think that that's it's helpful as a reminder. It's helpful as a shift in perspective. If there's something about that story that is inspiring or at least enlightening when it comes to the transits. But what is such a crucial part of humanity is storytelling. Mm-hmm. So no matter the story, whether it's, news or your friends' gossip or drama, it's like we have so much story in our life.
And story is culture. Mm-hmm. It's the religion, it's the culture. And, like it reminds me when we went to Australia and the indigenous dancers and how some storylines that are passed on from the Aboriginal storyline are not for everyone. And you have to be a certain age, even
gender. As a woman Aborigine, you're not allowed to share specific stories as a part of the culture, which was, so interesting to find out.
So story is my, right. I guess my point is, and, here, I grew up, I never liked cartoons, still don't, never watch cartoons. It was like people, childhood, no, cartoons, ew. But myths and fairy tales, yeah, I love those. So anyway, check out the cheat sheet if you haven't.
And let's move into Talisman times. You have been so busy, busy to say the least. So and I think from what we discussed last week, there was only one that was missed, which was like a 3 a.m. one. And that was just a choice.
I looked at which I always do. I prep, I find the times, I write the times, I put them in my calendar, I put them in the website. There's a lot a lot to do, not just to then put these times in my alarm so that I don't miss one.
Right.
But when I started one night, which was last Thursday, and starting at midnight, and then I had a 3 o'clock, and then had like a 6 o'clock, and then had a 9 o'clock, plus a full day of client work.
Right. That's a lot.
I was like, let me check my 65-year-old energy here. And is that possible for me to do? And I had decided, no, it's not.
Right.
That I had to give I actually gave, that 3 o'clock in the morning one up.
Which I think is fair, because you really want to give as much energy to these talismans as you can. And if your cup is not overflowing and is not full, you can't necessarily be giving this energy to your talisman that you're working on.
Right, but I do think that there's what I feel more connected to. I can easily call. I've been calling in for 11 years now, the planets. Mm-hmm. And, I have my practice and my incense and my candle and my music and my Orphic hymn and the colors. And I've got a relationship with the planets, right? Mm-hmm. And even in my own natal chart, I have actually really nice natal chart with Venus in Jupiter, and actually Saturn and Mars. And so I have a connection. But what I'm more concerned about is will I have enough energy for my client work that day? Will I be foggy or tired, where my talisman that I wear every day when I read is to bring my right brain and my left brain together at the same time, while I'm needing a solution or an answer or combination of intuition and my education in astrology together at the same time, so I can give great advice to the client about the chart. So that's what's more important for me, that I don't lose energy there, because I really feel like I can make talismans when the proper moment is available. I'm in cahoots with the planets. I've been doing this for so long. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
let's get into
long
these
story.
finished talisman times. So Thursday, August 26th, we have 2 talismans. To be fertile and conceive is the first.
Thank you, Venus, for beholding and rejoicing in this place of children. You and I agree on the matter, and I honor you to aid me on my wish of successful pregnancy and birth. And I didn't have those last couple words put in of successful pregnancy and birth, but I didn't write them in initial writing. But, as you know, and as some of you have heard, that if I'm in the process, like I was just saying, and I hear Venus talk to me, that was the add-on. And she said, no, my wish, you have to say the wish of successful pregnancy and birth. So this one, of course, was, and we're going through a period in the sky where we can get the moon enclosed between the Venus and the Jupiter. And in Hellenistic astrology, this is a very beneficial time of being protected and supported by the two benefics that allow you. It's almost like you're walking into the party with the king and the queen on either side of you. And you're walking in going, when everybody is in awe and you have protection and nobody's, and all eyes are on you, and you're getting service and privilege.
Admiration, right?
So that's what a lot of these talismans for this week and next week are going on, because Venus and Jupiter in the sky are in a combination place that Mars and Saturn aren't throwing any rays, they're not hurling any rays, they're not making any superior hard aspects, and any planet getting in between these two for an enclosure, which has been the moon on this one and moon on the next one, holds that the moon is escorted in, right? And so this is a really good one. I'd be surprised if if anyone is looking at, and there's so much IVF going on right now. In fact, I read this morning that 1 out of 10 women are seeking IVF practices. They're having trouble pregnancy. This is not IVF, nor is it $10,000. It certainly is worth this $244 for this talisman.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that same day, Thursday, August 26th, to enjoy the hidden aspects of a relationship.
I rejuvenate my life source by escaping with my mate. Our isolation together suits me during this moment. Shh, come here. So again, moon enclosed by Venus. Venus is coming up over the horizon, and the moon is in the 7th house. So we hold this combination of 1st house, 7th house, me and you, my intimate partner. And the only thing about this is that it was pointed out to me actually by one of the other astrologers in the astrology podcast, is that Mars is ruling the 7th house, which Mars is in the 12th house. So this is why we went into a isolation and escapism with this talisman.
Okay.
It's best served to be behind the scenes.
Right.
So is this a secret love affair? I don't know. Maybe.
Or at least that secret intimacy that you share that no one else sees. Not even like the people that are close to you, friends and family. It's, just having those private moments. So let's move on. Sunday, August 29th, to dig into any hidden family matters. This sounds hidden as well.
Well, the moon here is in the 12th house. And I need to know some things. I follow the clues through the past years and uncover what I felt was a missing link. I now know. And this is with Gemini rising and Mercury being in the 4th house in his own sign. This is a really nice aspect. And the moon is making her next aspect from an elevated place in the 12th to Mercury, the ruler of the chart, in his own sign in the 4th. So this is about finding some family information that you have been maybe suspecting, but it actually helps you. Is there any, maybe there's something in the, like is there a disease or something that's been, in the family lineage that you need to know about? It's just something about genealogy that you've been missing. So if anybody's looking to dig in to some holes here, this is the talisman for you. Right.
And next, same day, Sunday, August 29th, to study, learn, and integrate astrology.
This is, my mind is clear and easily ingests this foreign ancient subject of cosmic teachings. I get it just as it gets me. We understand each other. Interesting.
Yeah. And that's just the epitome of, like, once you dig a little bit deeper into astrology, you feel that connection, you feel that mirroring.
And I feel it was really funny because this was Sunday morning, really cracked gas early in the morning. And I remember at the end of last week when I was looking at my weekend going, oh my God, I am now like looking at my Saturday. And, the Saturday started with our 10 o'clock. We had the September forecast on Facebook, right? Then at 11, that gets over at 11. At 11, I have my next class. Then at 1 o'clock, I have my mentor program. And then I think it's at 3 o'clock is my next mentor program. And then all day long is the astrology, young astrologers free program. And so it's been Saturday for me. Like, I don't have any social engagements on Saturday. In fact, somebody asked me, do I want to go out on Saturday? I'm like, no, it's astrology world for me on Saturday. And it just is funny because as I wake up on Sunday morning to study, learn, and integrate astrology.
Yeah. Perfect.
It was all picked. All this is about really, if you really are diving into astrology and you feel like it's a lot of study, it is. But when you understand it and it understands you, because you can link the messages from your life and what you're looking, again, use the right brain. Use that macroscope of getting into the trees in the forest, but then droning up to see the whole big picture. And you can really be able to integrate astrology. So if you're wanting to be study, this is your talisman.
And the final talisman that was created Sunday, August 29th, to refine and grow all accounts.
I am pragmatic in my approach to buying and selling my goods. I have help from the thinker, Mercury, along with the benefic Venus, to make great decisions on my trade. I grow my coffers. So this can be really, and the reason we can look at money is because Venus is the ruler of the second house here, and she's in the first, in a co-presence with Mercury, the ruler. Did you understand all that? And the moon is making a really, really tight aspect to Mercury, and she is exalted. So if you're looking to grow, refine and grow all accounts, this is your financial account, this is your checking account, your savings account, your Venmo account, your cryptocurrency account.
Yeah.
This is growing coffers of how you're going, coming up with a program to sell, right? First, you have to come up with a program. You have to have a book. You have to have something to trade that you're asking for, that financial trade.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about, we just ran through our aspects, and we talk about fair trade. Well, this is the talisman that I made just before today, that I made yesterday, that was anticipating. We always try to get talisman as anticipating, not past.
Right.
You go for what's coming in the future. That's the whole talismanic. Those are promising.
The time. Yeah. And so Monday, August 30th, today, you are creating one to become irresistible and popular.
Really, I am excellent at getting my message out to others. Something in the way I write or make art inspires them. How cool, I have this gift. Yeah, this was made early this morning. And this again is that moon making now a trine to Venus coming up over the horizon. She's rising in her own aesthetic sign of Libra. And, right, who wouldn't want to be irresistible?
Yeah. Seriously.
And popular, I added the word popular there because, it's Venus and the moon is the ruling the 10th. So there's a synergy, a synergistic combination of being liked and adored all at the same time.
Yeah. And then the upcoming talismans that you have, there's 4 total. And the first is Thursday, September 2nd, to beautify my home.
5.
There's 5.
Yeah.
Then I missed one. So let's start with Thursday, September 2nd, to beautify my home.
I welcome my friends and family into my place of happiness and joy. They sense the beauty and peacefulness that is present. We are touched. Again, this is the moon coming up over the horizon in her own sign, making a nice aspect first to the Venus in the 4th in Libra. So it's about inviting people into a beautiful home, inviting beauty into your home.
That's very Libra-esque. Mm-hmm. And so Saturday, September 4th, to become the artist that I am.
Now is my time to shine, to perform, and to uncover these once hidden artistic treasures I have always owned. Now others find my art desirable. And this is, again, Venus in Libra is happening, this 3 weeks. So this is one reason why there are so many talismans going on, because Venus being in her own sign of Libra without the negative, or we could say tense aspects of the 2 malefics, which we had last year, we don't have this year. So, and of course, Venus is about art and beauty. So one thing
I really
she's
like
doing
that
about
one.
the home, this one is about the artist that I am.
And I like the artist one because it's really about that discovery. And if anyone has attempted the creative process of art, you realize that it is complete discovery. You could be digging so deep into one area and it's just unfulfilling. You don't find the treasure. And then you can try something a little bit different, say like more mixed media or, a whole another medium. And there you strike gold. And it's, where you are just in this groove, in this flow, where it comes and it happens naturally and easily. So,
well, in 2, art is beheld by the viewer, right?
In the eye of the beholder, yes.
Not everybody really likes Picasso's paintings, right? But
what?
although I have a whole
he's
full
very
big
popular,
book
and I mean,
of
just
Picasso.
because someone's popular doesn't mean that everyone loves
right,
that
that's
person.
what I was kind of saying.
Right.
So it's like we can love.
You can be popular in your community. You can also be popular in your country.
Well known, yeah. And what you could do is get both of those talismans to be popular and irresistible and become the artist that I am. There is one you missed right before that.
Okay.
This is Thursday, September 2, to stimulate others with kind words.
Okay. Tell me about it.
I provide and support my crew and pack. My ideas, thoughts, and suggestions inspire them. We feel great. And this is moon up in the top of the chart, the 10th. This is career, sitting right, applying to the midheaven in her own sign, Cancer, making a 4-degree, pretty tight aspect to Venus coming up over the horizon. Again, Venus rising all over the place. And that's why, Libra, this time of year, Libra is coming up right after the sun, because the sun is in Virgo, the sign prior to Libra. So that's why these are all kind of taking place around 8:30 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning,
Okay.
quarter to 10, something like that.
Right, because the last few months of our talisman times, sometimes we haven't had any. So now it's just really fun to have this like full, abundant talisman time schedule. I'm sure that it's not always fun for you, but let's move on to Saturday, September 4th, to find satisfying and enriching nourishment.
I give my body what it craves. I ask my body, not my mind or my taste buds, as I usually do. I prosper.
It sounds like a great diet.
Cookie monster? Is that, what'd you call me? Cookie queen? But this is Spica.
Okay,
Right.
and tell me a little bit about
So
Spica.
Venus is conjunct Spica, conjunct the ascendant. And Spica's at about 24 degrees of Libra these days. And when I say these days, I mean this millennia. But it's more about the enrichment. Spica brings, it's the wheat. It's the wheat in the Virgo hand. And it wants to bring, nurturing food, nurturing, satisfying food that supports the development of healthy body. Because when you ask the body what it craves, you're listening to what your body needs, not what your taste buds want.
Right. Bummer.
Well, but this
really,
talisman will help reminding you that
to
if I'm
nourish your
looking,
body.
I'm looking at this green thing, or I'm looking at this sprinkles thing that's melting really fast. That's ice cream.
Oh, gotcha.
And you're asking the body, which one will give you satisfying nourishment?
Right.
Because you're not asking your taste buds.
Yes. Right.
That way, or versus
The enriching
that way.
nourishment. And I liked that you use that too. Not just satisfying, but enriching nourishment, where, your body's like, oh, I know what to do with all of this that you're putting in here.
Yeah. Enrich.
Right.
I think that means in wealth.
Okay.
Rich. I'm rich.
So Sunday, September 5th, to repay a loan.
Interesting, huh? This is balsamic phase. The moon is losing light. Big, fast. In fact, it is really, how far away? 14 degrees balsamic. So it could get, and we can't see it in the sky. So I happily pay off this money I received to help me advance and grow. So it so worked. Thanks. And I am now clear of this financial commitment. So as again, balsamic moon times are time to, let go, wrap up, finish, conclude, eliminate. So the fact that it was about money or loans was the moon is in the 8th house. The sun and the moon are in the 8th house of debt.
Well, good. I mean, that's a huge, task to get knocked off your list if you do have that repayment of a loan. It's normally like one of those residual things that finally, you come to the finish line and you're like, wow, this has been a lot of payments. And you're looking back being like, I came far. So,
and the whole idea was I received this money to advance and grow. I wasn't here, eating and drinking. I was advancing and growing, and it worked.
And investing in the right way. Right.
And thanks, because you're now clear of this financial commitment. So if this talisman would be for anyone who has a goal in mind or is getting close to the goal, and knowing that you're focused on happily paying it off. So you're saying that in the now that, I happily pay off this money I received because it made me get this. I went to school here. I learned that. I now have my this. I got my car. I got my job. Now I'm consolidating, and now I'm growing.
Right.
Yeah. So, whoo, that's a lot of bead making this week.
It is. And we also have our announcement of our talisman of the month. This talisman is to be surrounded by happiness and love. You picked this for September. We're offering a discount on this talisman and this talisman only, and you get a shipping credit when you purchase. So click that link. Make sure you click it after September 1st in order to receive this one, to be surrounded by happiness and love. But don't forget that we also, before September, you will get redirected to the Make Alliances and Plan a Successful Route talisman, which was last month. So I think that's all for talisman times.
Isn't that enough?
Yes.
I need a cookie.
So on the horizon, we just finished up September's astrology forecast. That's where you and Susan came together, gave us all the need to know dates, similar to what we talk about here on the podcast. But we have a really special offer too, which is that cheat sheet that we keep talking about. This is a downloadable PDF that you can print or even just have there on your computer as a resource. Everything's written out. It's super easy to understand. You'll also get a little bit more confident in the symbols, in the astrological symbols that we use. So if you're curious about dipping your big toe into this big astrology pool, that is definitely one way. So let's also talk about
my Rapunzel story.
And your Rapunzel story is in there only
Don't
this
forget.
September. So you have to get this September one to read more about the Rapunzel story and how Sandy ties it in with the transits. So let's talk about the Mexico retreat, the retreatication that you're calling it. We have one space left. That's even after we had to expand a little bit to accommodate a couple more people. So this is it. We are closing the doors for the Mexico retreat right after this one space is taken up. So if you are interested and if it is still available, make sure to click that deposit link that's in the description or email me, alex@intentionbeads.com.
I also want to say that by the 31st, which if you're listening to this on time, August 31st is Tuesday. That midnight that day is the last of it ends the
Early bird
special.
We've had nothing but early birds.
We
it's
did all
crazy.
early birds.
Yeah.
We've never sold a retreat this fast. And we haven't even announced it other than podcast.
Other than the podcast.
We haven't sent an email. In fact, I talked to somebody last week and they were like, yeah, when is that? I need to know the dates. I'm like, oh, okay, here are the dates. There's one spot left. You can go onto the website, hit retreats, and there's a little bit of information there. The times, the costs. But if you can get your $500 deposit in, that means before the 31st, you're on the early bird. And that will save you a couple $100. And it's so worth it because then you have more cash in your pocket to, I don't know, get some massages or little cute trinkets to purchase.
All the makers in the little market. Love it. So also, we are announcing our October astrology forecast. That's happening September 25th. That link is in the description. We would love to have you there. Again, this is great and free information. So don't miss out on these. So let's move into our house. You have not only been busy with talismans, you have been busy planning some new workshops possibly. And we want to just share the idea here, plant a little seed with all of our podcast listeners because you all get kind of first dibs.
Is it like your cookie crumbs?
Yes. Delicious.
Yeah, I've got, in fact, this last week, if any, I know some of you are listening, I really spent a lot of time on natal moon phases and progressed moon phases. And there's 8 phases. When we were working with Wonderlust. I taught how many classes a day? Maybe.
My goodness, 3?
3 classes a day of the 4-day festivals, going over everybody's, and then I going over everybody's phases, and then I kind of phased out.
Right, and we also took on just the astrology basics classes after that, which was, a whole nother ball game too.
And so I left the phases to behind, basically. And in this class with Demetra George, who wrote a book 30 years ago, she is now mentoring a group of us she hasn't taught this work for 30 years. So she's gone through a whole lunar phase cycle where she's teaching it again. And, getting her book that she wrote 30 years ago and bringing it to the client work that I did last week for the first time, really amazed everyone that I talked to where I brought it up, and I want to build on that. I want to do, and we were chatting before we went live here, because you and I don't maybe see eye to eye on how to do this, but we're coming up with some programs,
right? And
asteroids will be another one. The Venus star point will be another one. So I'm really super excited about, putting into action, all of these things that I've been learning over the last 4 or 5 years.
A lot.
But because Uranus is sitting on my Venus and on my midheaven. And so it's going back over. So it's about bringing new things, new energy, new thought, to help.
Yeah, to become like a thought leader in like all these different areas. And I think it's really cool that you're really extending yourself throughout all these different studies, and you're going to come back and teach us those nuggets, those morsels that are going to help benefit whatever we're working on in our lives. And so excited to, create a way that this information is, easily reached by all of our listeners. And that's what I'm going for. So I'm pushing for maybe a workshop, maybe a series, and, where people can learn this.
And I do know, we don't have the exact date, that the next Talisman making webinar will be in January, when we go after the Venus heliacal rise after her retrograde cycle and the Cazimi to the sun. And that'll be in, I don't know, first, second week of January, right after the Mexico retreat. So that I know is my next. So keep an eye out for that. We'll announce it here once we have that arranged.
All right. So I think that's it.
That's a lot. That's a lot on the top end right there.
Right. We packed a lot into this episode. So, of course, let me know any and all of your feedback, alex@intentionbeads.com. You can also head over to our Instagram. We have Intention Beads, and we also have our astrological podcast, Astrological Intentions podcast. So that is all for this week. We hope you have a phenomenal cosmic week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
So you finally know you control where you go.